You'll never guess what the unions are upset about now. At a time when millions are out of work, the AFSCME local in Illinois is screaming about not getting its third raise this year. Governor Pat Quinn says the money just isn't there. The union says find it. And guess what? The union may get it. Wait till you hear about this. As states struggle to balance their budgets, they're realizing two things. First of all, there's no way they can honor the unreasonable salary and benefit promises made to state workers over time by very irresponsible politicians. And two, there's not much more they can squeeze out of the wealthy to pay the bills. That leads places like Illinois to a huge problem since they thought higher taxes would balance the books. Nowhere is this more true than in Illinois, which is where Kristina Rasmussen of the Illinois Policy Institute joins us from the state capitol. Kristina, great to see you again. First of all, let's talk about the disparity. You often hear these figures, but these are pretty clear figures. I don't think there's much doubt. Illinois state workers make all in about $69,500, whereas the private sector workers doing about the same thing make $56,500. So there's not much disagreement about that. What does the public feel about that?
Well, the public is angry. They work hard, and they're seeing their tax dollars go to compensation packages that they could never dream of earning. You know, over the last 15 years, the average state employee is earning 15% more in real terms, while the average private sector worker's compensation is down slightly at -2%. Folks are frustrated, especially when they hear about what happened last week here in Illinois.
All right, Governor Quinn. Let's get into that. Governor Quinn is a Democrat. Of course, he famously raised taxes, signed on to the raising of taxes, one of the first things he did, and it was, what, a 67% increase in a tax rate. He thought that would balance the books, but he realized soon on he was going to have to tackle the unions, but now it looks like he's going to cave.
Well, earlier this year, Governor Quinn signed a 67% income tax into law, and it really will hurt families. The average family will lose out about 1 week of extra pay to the government. And what's the money going towards? It's a lot of public employee compensation. But last week, Governor Quinn decided to hold off on what would have been the third round of pay hikes for unionized state workers. They received a pay increase on January 1st and June 1st, and we're going to receive a pay increase on July 1st, but there just was no money left.
All right, let me just emphasize that, Kristina, because at a time, again, people compare their situation with the state workers at a time when everybody's worried about a job, let alone a raise. They had 3 raises, the Illinois state workers, within 1 year.
Within 7 months. It's pretty incredible.
7 months?
1 out of 10 Illinoisans. Within 7 months, 1 out of 10 Illinoisans do not have a job in this state. Families are losing out on an extra week's worth of pay to higher taxes. And so when you ask folks, 3 pay increases within 7 months, might you come back to the bargaining table and help us out a little bit? The state still has billions of dollars in an unbalanced budget. And, ordinary folks are wisening up to the situation. They're not happy with it.
Well, particularly when there's this obnoxious pushback on a part of some of the union leaders. The leader of AFSCME in Illinois responded to the government's hesitation about giving them the third increase in 7 months. Here's what the AFSCME guy said.
This unprecedented action was taken without any forewarning and demonstrates on the part of the governor a complete disregard for the needs and interests of caregivers, correctional officers, and other employees who provide vital services to the state of Illinois.
All right, well, is the public buying that?
What's so fascinating about this situation is that AFSCME actually endorsed Governor Quinn last fall. They have been good friends up until now, but it should come to us as a surprise to nobody that there's no money left. The state passed a record budget this year. They chose to put the money towards other programs and pensions rather than fund the pay raise. But let's be clear, Governor Quinn would have handed over this cash if he had been given to it. He's a liberal Democrat. He hasn't woken up and smelled the coffee when it comes to rebalancing public sector pay. Rather, the legislature tied his hands, and he didn't have the money to spend.
Well, although I think
now
these guys might be changing. Yeah, I know. I think the Democrats may be changing, though, as they're lambasted by the union. We had the union leader in New Jersey call the Democrat head of the Senate there a Nazi. So, I mean, some of the rhetoric is so over the top. They're losing. I think unions are losing more friends than they're gaining. Finally, I just got to ask you about trying to say that the rich can pay the bills, the millionaires and billionaires can make up the difference. Aren't already like the top 14% of Illinois taxpayers are paying about 60% of the bills, right?
Yeah, the top taxpayers are already paying most of the collections. And if you squeeze them much harder, they will leave. Illinois residents have been fleeing to low-tax jurisdictions. And I really think it comes down to the rank-and-file public employee union members. They do great work. They're good at their jobs. But they have to understand if their leadership keeps making demands that are unreasonable, they are going to kill the golden goose. And then no one wants a job where paychecks bounce and pension systems go overboard. So it's really up to the rank-and-file here to stand up and ask for some reasonableness.
And I think even Governor Quinn is beginning to realize that. All right, Kristina, great to see you. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Coming up on deck,